You also are involved in evaluations at the grassroots level. Members of Parliament have their offices in the constituencies. Do you do any evaluations of the performance of members of Parliament in the constituency offices?
Yes, we do. M&E cuts across all the 19 departments of the National Assembly. One of the departments of the National Assembly is in charge of all the 156 constituency offices scattered across the country. So the 156 constituency offices report to the reforms department at headquarters. There we have indicators, we have tools for data collection, and so on and so forth. We conduct routine monitoring, but periodically we conduct evaluations to assess the performance of these particular entities of the National Assembly. We have what we call a tool for annual performance appraisal of constituency offices. It has 7 sections focusing on networking, conduct of legislative work. We are talking about financial management. We are talking about community engagement. We are talking about provision of information services. So, as you know, these constituency offices are supposed to be a replica of the main parliament here in Lusaka. So it's an extension of parliament. Whatever happens at parliament should be happening at local level. We deliberately conduct these evaluations to assess how these satellite parliaments are conducting their work. Is it in line with the core mandates of the institution? Where are we? What are we doing? Where do we want to go? And so on and so forth. We conduct this based on 7 key areas. And in terms of the tools we develop, we endeavor to use the OECD guidelines, those the relevance and so on and so forth. We focus on that, and that is happening. There's evaluation happening at constituency office level. Unfortunately, I'm not sure I should say unfortunately, because an evaluation is supposed to happen after a given period of time. So in this particular case, our evaluations are tied to the institutional strategic plan, which runs for 5 years. So we are saying at least in each cycle of a strategic plan, these constituency offices at one point or another, their performance should be assessed, and we endeavor to do that.
Have you got any example when an evaluation was done very well, and what was the benefit for the beneficiaries?
Yes. I will give you one practical example of an evaluation which was done properly. This was the evaluation of the 2015-2019 National Assembly Strategic Plan. I picked this particular one because there was a lot of stakeholder engagement. This is in line with the tenets of Indigenous evaluation. The locals participated, the locals spoke, their voices were heard. Whatever feedback was obtained informed the development of the new strategic plan. So when we're talking about the new strategic plan of the National Assembly, it's a product of an evaluation which was conducted by the institution. Stakeholders, I'm talking about political players, administrative people in the National Assembly, members of staff, everyone, the donor community, the VOPs like Zambia Monitoring and Evaluation, the academia like the University of Zambia, all these were involved in the evaluation. Why? Because the National Assembly does not operate in isolation. We work through various stakeholders. When we have committees, we summon the stakeholders to come and present before Parliament. When we are doing sensitization, we require the cooperating partners to come on board to help us with the various aspects of our work. When we need to broadcast a certain message which we want to send out to the nation, we have to work with the media. So it is based on that premise that we attempt to work with all stakeholders as we try to advance the evaluation agenda forward.
You have a TV station at Parliament, is it?
Yes, we actually have a TV and radio station. The idea is to take Parliament closer to the people. The TV and radio broadcasts are run and broadcasted to all corners of the nation. There are interactive programs where experts like yourselves could come, engage with Parliament, government players, the legislatures, the MPs, the members of Parliament. Also, there is an aspect of introducing the nation and the public to what the National Assembly does. So in this case, we run programs where we sort of like know your National Assembly. We are talking about the Monitoring and Evaluation Department. You have an audience on TV where you are able to tell the nation what is it that you do as a National Assembly of Zambia regarding monitoring and evaluation. If at all there is any interaction with the general public is made aware that if you want to engage with the committees department of the National Assembly, you need to follow the following procedure. You need to meet ABCD. This is your parliament. We are here to make sure that your views are broadcasted to the nation so that your voice is heard, you contribute to the governance of the nation. So that's basically the essence of these broadcasting services in the National Assembly.
That's very good. So good evaluation practices, are they being documented, and then by whom?
Yes, good evaluation practices are being documented. The success stories are being documented. All this is done by the Monitoring and Evaluation Department of the National Assembly. It's a relatively new department, started in 2019 with skeleton staff. But as we go, we are seeing that there is a drive to recruit more staff with professional skills to undertake data collection, data analysis, dissemination of the findings, as well as documenting the best practices and lessons learned.
What do you find as most challenging as an Indigenous evaluator?
Oh, most challenging for me, I think it's the lack of appreciation of evaluation, lack of appreciation of the value that evaluation can add to the operation of an institution like mine. There's a lot of myths and misconceptions surrounding evaluation. With continued sensitization and continued support in terms of capacity building, networking, collision building, I think we'll get somewhere. But the major hindrance I've noticed is just the lack of appreciation. So even when we are saying we've moved from sensitization, I personally think that sensitization and awareness raising should be a continuous process. Why? Because in the absence of appreciation by the people who are supposed to benefit from the evaluation, if they don't appreciate the need, there is a high likelihood that we may not go anywhere.
Zambia is a member of UPNOD. So I expect that members of parliament in Zambia would be more supportive of M&E.
Yes, the members of parliament of the National Assembly of Zambia are very keen in advancing the evaluation agenda forward. This has led to the formation of the Zambian chapter of UPNOD, African Parliamentarians Network on Development Evaluation. There is a Zambian chapter. There is a committee spearheading evaluation activities. This committee is headed by Honorable Joseph Munsanje, MP from Babala in Southern Province. He has about 5 other committee members to help him manage evaluation activities for the National Assembly. The essence of UPNOD is basically to advance the evaluation agenda for parliamentarians. You cannot talk about development without evaluating that development. You cannot talk about transparency, accountability, and good governance without evaluations. So it's based upon that recognition that our MPs, members of parliament, with a diverse background in terms of professions, have volunteered themselves to form this caucus. And the caucus is supposed to be a caucus on evidence, promoting evidence use in parliament. Whatever MPs, members of parliament, are discussing, should be based on evidence. Evidence coming from the local people, the relevant stakeholders.
I did a walkthrough in Nyimba at the constituency office. What I noticed is that they didn't record in the register that they had visitors. I thought constituency offices, visitors going there to lodge in complaints or just to interact with the MP are supposed to be recorded. And then the MP informed about the visitors and the issues they brought to the constituency office. But that I noticed in Nyimba wasn't done. There was an issue that the Catholic Church was involved related to land issues in the Nyimba district, specifically Nyalugwe chiefdom. Though mayor was sent to the MP, he never reacted. Even the follow-up to the constituency office, there didn't seem to be any action or response from the MP. So I'm questioning whether there is capacity building among the MPs by UPNOD to make them realize that the connection between the grassroots and National Assembly.
Okay, so that is well noted. If you recall, I indicated that M&E is a relatively new phenomenon in the institution. We have such challenges. We have data collection challenges, we have data analysis challenges, we have reporting challenges, we have documentation challenges. Ideally, each office is supposed to have a register for visitors. It is my office's job to ensure that they have registers. When they have registers, they should record the number of visitors, the nature of business which was transacted between the National Assembly and the particular visitor. Was the issue brought to the MP's attention? If it was, what feedback was obtained? What was done with that feedback? And so on and so forth. It is unfortunate that we are still in this phase where we keep on saying, like we're transitioning, but we are doing our best to ensure that the capacity of constituency office staff is built. Every year, the reforms department has a budget line where various constituency of staff are brought together to be reoriented on various aspects of parliamentary work. Part of the program of that department involves a segment on monitoring and evaluation. This segment is delivered by the M&E department and it focuses on reporting, documentation. You remember the adage that if it's not recorded, it wasn't done. So we follow that in the spirit of that. However, such challenges, we are mindful that they're still there. It's a continuous process. We need to continue with the capacity building. We need to continue with the sensitization. We also need to strengthen our feedback mechanism, like the way you brought it to Nyimba. I've taken down the issue. I will speak with the relevant officer at the office, or we will talk to his subordinates to ensure that there is no recurrence of such issues, because these are things we talk about every day. We are talking about every day. There is a visitor. Who did you tell there was a visitor? What was it about? What was the visit about? What is the outcome of that visit? Sometimes we lose opportunity because of lack of documentation. We miss out on opportunity because we are like working in silos. We are not communicating effectively with the other office, with the other departments of the government. Remember, Parliament is just the legislative arm. We have the executive. We also have the judiciary. We have the local government there. At constituency office, we have the traditional leadership as well, the church, the NGOs, and all those. So we are trying to approach the issue of recording from a holistic point of view, where we are continuous capacity building and continuous speaking to officers in these offices so that documentation is improved. And actually, we conduct what we call data audits, periodic data audits. And unfortunately, we don't conduct like a census. So we'll sample just to cross-check and triangulate the reports that we obtain from the field. We cross-check by doing physical visits to these areas. Okay, we have the reports for the past 3 years. Can we have the registers? Just checking through, seeing that, okay, so here you said, okay, what happened with the, okay, we identify areas of improvement, we identify officers who require training and what kind of training, and so on and so forth.
Thank you very much.